Welcome to a very special episode of Become an Industry Celebrity. Why is it special? Well, because every day is special, but also I have a special guest, Marina, and I am traveling. And why is it cool? Because I'm on live right now with one of my travel experts. Marina's been great at living vivaciously. She's going to talk about what that means. So I want to start saying, Marina, welcome. Tell us who you are.
Oh, thank you, Deidre, for having me today. And I'm so excited to be on this episode with you as you're traveling, as you're living vivaciously. So, hello, everyone who's joining us or watching the replay. My name is Marina Girgis. I am a brand expert, CEO and founder of Living Vivaciously. And my whole goal and purpose is to help freedom obsessed women travel the world and live their best lives. And the way I do that right now is through helping them build their brands online so that they have this ownership over their income, over their time, over their freedom, and just so that they can do whatever they want to do.
That does not sound great. Everyone doesn't. Don't you want to sign up for that? Living vivaciously, freedom. I guess I want to start with this question from jump. Like, what does freedom mean to you?
Freedom to me really truly means ownership. And as I grow into this role of CEO and founder of my own business, I'm realizing that the best thing that has happened for me is ownership, and ownership not only of my time, but ownership over my income, what I get to do every day, and not having to answer to anyone. And Deidre, I know you remember this post that I created on Instagram where I was talking about how, waking up with cramps and remembering the days where I had to tell people why I needed to miss work or why I needed to miss school. And I feel like just the greatest freedom is answering to you and going on your own pace. So that is what freedom means to me, going at my own pace.
I like that kind of freedom. It's like, and that's so key. Like, one of the key things I talk to clients and friends about, like, the number one step to branding, I know we talk about branding, is defining success on your terms. Yes. You don't know what the success is like for you. You're going to be chasing off of other people's dreams. So it's very clear. And I like the idea of like freedom of ownership. So you really own what your desires are, your journey, and what you bring to the table. And for you, can you give us some example of what it means to like live vivaciously? Like, have you worked with clients on this? Have you lived vivaciously? How have you done that?
Yeah, so for me right now, I'm currently living vivaciously. And what that looks like for me personally, and I'll go into some client examples, is that I'm in Miami and I just got an Airbnb. It's this beautiful apartment, lots of sunlight, high rise, gym, pool, all of that. But it's not just about the luxury, and it's more about that I'm able to be here and not have to be somewhere specific in this world, right? And if the world was open, I'd probably be in different places, probably like, I don't know, South America or Bali, somewhere out there. But for now, Miami will do. I actually don't have a home base now. I used to be based in New York, but I've just been traveling. I was in New Orleans last month. So what I've been doing is I've been like booking 1 month Airbnbs, testing out places. So I won't have a return ticket anywhere. I'll just do a one-way ticket somewhere and go test out the Airbnb, see if I like the environment, see if I like the people. And there's so much I've been learning about myself in the process, like what I actually like and not like. For example, like I said, this is a luxury apartment. There's all the amenities that I need, but I'm realizing what I like is to actually be close to the people. So in New Orleans, I had a house. And I don't know if you've been, Deidre, but
yeah, I love New Orleans.
It's such a vibe. And like there's so much music. So you leave the house and I was in the middle of it all. And I loved that. It was a shotgun house. It was so cute and colorful. And I'm realizing like these are the things that I want, but a lot of us go through life thinking like what we want is the high rise, is the skyline view or the pool or whatever. Or maybe we want the opposite of that. But then we don't test things out. So when we get those things that we think we want, we end up feeling a disconnect. And I'm so happy that I get to have that opportunity now to test things out and see what I actually want. Do I want to live on a farm? I mean, I'm going to test that out too, you know? Like, do I want to live in a high rise? Do I want a house? I mean, why do we grow up thinking like all we want is a big house? You know, maybe that's not what we want. You know?
You know, since I've met you on the internet, you've been in Miami, New Orleans, New York,
Mexico.
Mexico. I mean, it's just been amazing. It's like I feel like I'm living vivaciously through you, and I think that desire to travel, how have they been able to be successful in travel or live vivaciously on their terms?
Yeah. Sorry, say that again.
So how have your clients been able to do this? Because I know you work with different professionals, whether they are currently in corporate or full time entrepreneurs. Like how have others been able to adapt this lifestyle to their own brands?
Yeah, absolutely. So I actually have a lot of clients that come to me because they want that ease and time in their lives, right? They want to go at their own pace. And obviously, we usually attract clients that are in the same journey as us, like maybe a few years back, right? We're always helping someone who is kind of starting the same journey that we did, and now they need the guidance to get to where we are today. So I find that oftentimes these ladies will come to me and they want more ease and time in their lives, and they want to immediately jump into, for example, group coaching programs. They're like, I don't want to teach people one-on-one. I want this like one-to-many. I want to be a speaker. I want to be all these things. But then I'm like, we have to dig deeper into why you want these things. Do you want them because are you seeing other people online on Instagram? And Deidre, as you know, there's so much noise. There's so many people in on this platform, so many people doing things that are very much like similar, and we lose our own voice and our own purpose, because you don't need to start a business to do what I'm doing or to do what
Mm.
Deidre's doing, right? You have to have your own purpose of why you're starting a business. And I remember you and I were on a call one time, Deidre, and I was talking about how, you know, travel, that's not for everyone. Freedom could mean just having more time with your children, right? Just being
Hmm.
stay-at-home mom. And that would be so beautiful. You don't need to want to travel like me to live the same way that I'm living. So this is alignment, basically. It's alignment between who you are and what you want to do and where you want to get to in life, with whether it's with your business, with your family, the money you want to make. And a lot of us, when we go into corporate, we don't think about that. We just think, I want the paycheck. But even if you're someone who's in corporate, I think it's important to think, why do I want that paycheck, and where does it get me? Where does this position get me? So one of my clients, she wanted to do the group approach, and we were talking about how it is just stressful to launch a group coaching program, because you have a beginning date and an end date, right? And you need to get people in the door during that phase of open enrollment, right? So there's high stress. And when you're someone new who hasn't built up an audience or credibility, what you're going to end up finding is that you're going to be so stressed out during this launch phase, and you're just going to start actually resenting your business. And I didn't want her to resent her business. I wanted her to love it. So what we did was we kind of figured out her main passion and skills, and I realized that she just wants to help people get to their next level. And she does that through sound meditation. She does that through journaling. She does that through so many like healing, like holistic approach. So we're like, why don't we test the one-on-one? Just go through that approach. And today she actually messaged me saying that she was so happy that she went through the one-on-one route, because her client was sobbing on their first conversation, and she's truly seeing the transformation in other people's life, because she is herself, she's in alignment, she's embodied. So we need to just almost detach or mute the people around us doing the same thing, and look within and see, what do we actually want to do, and what kind of transformation do we want to give for people or for ourselves. It's important to take care of us too in the process.
And Teresa said, beautiful conversation. Thank you, Teresa. I really honor and I
You.
appreciate that. But thank you. Okay, there's a lot of gems right there. I gotta say, like, it's a lot of direction. And I'll tell you guys, like, y'all think we're just doing this for camp. Like, this is how we talk. I mean, we had a conversation. I was like, you look dope. I want to meet you. Let's talk. And this is what we did. And so it's so amazing. And so I say this because people like might think, oh, it's easy for Marina. Like, she's an entrepreneur. But you weren't always an entrepreneur.
No.
So before, like, how do you even get here to the point where you are vivacious on your terms? Like you said, not everyone needs to be an entrepreneur to live vivaciously. But how do you even get here from corporate to here? Or even maybe if you want to tell people your story about where you come from and that journey might be
Yeah,
good.
definitely. Let's go there. I know I've told you my story, Deidre, but
They can hear.
yes, yeah. So I was actually born in Egypt and raised in Kuwait all my life. Just it's been a series of like moving around, and it almost feels like all my life I've been in a self-discovery journey. And till this day, I still think I'm discovering myself. And people think like after like a certain age that you stop going on that journey. That I'm too old. It's too late now to like discover new things about myself, right? And I know that because my mom says these things, and the culture that I come from, it's like there's almost like an expiration date to your dreams, to your potential, to your ambition. And I was determined that I will not stop finding this purpose in my life. So actually, I was born in Egypt, raised in Kuwait, and then I was sent back to Egypt to go to university. I was sent back to do engineering because when you're born into an Egyptian family, they tell you the only things you can do, are engineering. You can be a lawyer, and
You got it. You had a list of jobs. Pick from
yeah.
one of these jobs.
Oh, totally. It's like, Marina, you were so good in doing math and physics, so you're going to engineering school. And the thing is, your parents will pay for it. That's the culture where I come from. They'll pay for it, but they'll pay for it on their own terms, right? This is the big difference between being raised in the States and having that freedom of choosing, because you're like, mom and dad, you're not even paying for it. You know what I mean? So I actually went to engineering school and I hated it. I failed all my classes. And I decided, you know what? I'm going behind my parents' back and I'm going to go to design school. So I changed my major. I was actually rejected at first. I didn't make it into design school, but I persisted and my grades were good. But then the revolution happened and we had to immigrate. So that's when we came to the US. And I always felt like I was in this restart mode. And I think even though it's painful to consistently be in this restart mode, I think it's very healthy for us as humans to have the space to actually think about, is this actually what I want to do? So for me, when I moved to the US, it was very challenging because my parents didn't speak any English, and I was the only English. I'm the oldest. I have two brothers, and I was the one like translating. I was the one doing all the meetings with our lawyers, filing paperwork. I was paying for the bills. Not me personally. My parents were paying for it, but like I was negotiating. I was doing all these things as a 19-year-old. So it was so much. It was a lot. I actually didn't go to school right away. I took time off. I was working. I was trying to discover what I want to do. And I actually started earning my first dollar, which I really loved. And that gave me so much freedom and power. And I know a lot of people growing up here, I think they take that for granted, like working at a young age, you make your own money, which means your own freedom, your own choices. But for me, I was like turning 20 and I was like, it was my first time ever making money. And I had a waitressing job and I loved it. And the reason I loved it was because I was talking to people. And I realized that I do act of serving. I do love the act of helping people in some capacity. I love talking to different people. I love meeting people. And I hadn't traveled yet at that by myself. So it was a natural lead into what I was going to do later in my life, which I ended up booking a solo trip to Southeast Asia. And I went to Thailand, Vietnam, and Cambodia all on my own.
Wow.
Don't speak the language.
Wow.
Yeah. And that really made me realize that I think my passion truly lies in meeting people, being out there on my own, going on my own pace. And discovering new things consistently in life. So it almost became like a repeated pattern in my life that I now kind of incorporate into my business. And it's now what I teach my clients to do as well, is that self-discovery, is that it doesn't end after you learn one strategy or after you create your positioning statement. You are constantly growing. And as you grow and develop, your brand grows with you. So that's how I kind of translated all the travels that I've done on my own, the different jobs. Oh, Deidre, I don't think I ever told you this, but I was the phone technician one time. Did I tell you that?
No, you didn't tell me. Okay, no, I mean, I feel like every time, this is a new Marina fact. Like Snapple facts is like a new Marina fact. What?
It was not really a factory, but it was these big, it was in Dallas, Texas. That's where I actually ended up going back to school for fashion design. But I was sitting there, it was a line of people, and we would just fix iPhones. It was insane.
Wow, that is incredible. And then Michael Blackshear's jumped on the support. Keep doing what you're doing. Thank you for the support. We appreciate you here showing love and support. This is just so. And so talking about living vivaciously, I feel like you've always been doing it. Maybe it's not been on the same terms, but it's just a very, what's it called? Tracy Ellis Ross said, a juicy life, a full juicy life.
I love her so much, by the way. I think she is the definition of living vivaciously. This woman is just out there. She does not think I'm too old to show skin. I'm too old to just start a business. She's just an incredible human, and she's actually a Scorpio as well.
Oh, Scorpio. Okay, yeah. Okay.
I think we have the same birthday. I think she's the 29th and the 28th of October. So
you guys aligned. I've had Scorpio from very nurturing folks, so I appreciate that. Maybe that's why we have some synergy there. Yeah. So I say that because also in the past, I know we talked about this. So let's talk about some top mistakes people make with trying to have a vivacious life. What do you see people, or that's not working for them, or even for you? What's some mistakes you made in the past going about trying to find your way?
Yeah, I think some of the mistakes that I've made and I see people make is listening to everyone but themselves. So yes, let's take a moment.
I've been there.
Yes, we all have. And the thing is, because we look around us and we have idols, we have people that we respect, we have people that we aspire to be like, but we've never taken the time to sit down and write down, what does this actually look like for me? Do I need to make 10K to live a vivacious life? And Deidre, you've seen it on Instagram, you've seen it on LinkedIn, you've seen it everywhere. People want to make that 10K month. Why is it 10K? Why can't 6K be enough? Because I can still afford this luxury apartment and still have a little bit extra making 6K. I could still even afford maybe living, I don't know, Texas at 3K. It doesn't really, why do we need the 10K? Unless you live in New York, then you need 15K.
California, it's you just need to be a millionaire. And that makes you break even. That's about it. It's exactly. you get to get avocado toast, and that's about it.
Well, I mean, why do you think I left New York? I just felt like all the money that I was bringing in, I feel like I forgot to say that part of my stories that I went.
But that's legit too about thinking about living vivaciously. I used to ascribe it to I want a certain amount of money. Now I'm I just want to keep a certain amount of money and live with peace. It's just funny how that flips. It's I want to be like that with a power suit and all my Louis and my bling, and I still like that stuff. So don't get me wrong. If y'all want to sponsor that. But at the same time, I really just have more peace of freedom, to have it, or I have effort money. So something that's compromising my values or whatever, I can say no to it, because I can say yes to things I actually value. But that's really interesting. And then Cynthia said, loving your energy. She's also a Scorpio. Scorpio power.
Scorpio.
Yeah. So let's talk about this. Well, let's talk about the mistakes and also the money mistakes. And I think money from mindset about that. I think it's people think I have to be to live vivaciously, that means I have to have luxury, and luxury costs a lot. And it's well, it could be and it could not be, Yeah.
I think it's also looking at where you want to live. What does this life look like, right? Because if happiness to you is the Louis bag, then you need to find a way to make enough to buy a Louis bag, but not even that. To think about your long-term success, your mental health. To me, that is wealth, right? Like I was not at peace. So I was in corporate, I was making good money, I was in New York. I had a really fun, hip Brooklyn apartment. That's my vibe, right? But I just felt I didn't feel fulfilled. I just felt empty. I felt aimless. And it wasn't until I left New York and got out of like the circle where happiness was defined by where you went to brunch, what you ate, who you hung out with. We all know that, we all been there. And went on my own, that I just realized that actually I don't care how much I make per month as long as I can pay, my Airbnb rent, since I'm just living in Airbnbs and I don't own furniture or anything like that. And I could just buy myself nice meals. Like for me, that's my luxury. Like going out, you see on my stories on
Yeah.
Instagram, fancy drinks, fancy meals. I want to be able to just put my money down and also to invest in myself. Like I just got a coach and I paid in full. And that to
Mm.
me is just an amazing feeling. Like for me to be able to like, okay, here's a few $1,000s. I can pay that. I have money that I can invest back in my education, in my travel, in the things that truly, truly light that fire in me, which help me live vivaciously and continue to live vivaciously. And I think we take, especially for the people who quit corporate, maybe you're in corporate and this is your career path, which is nothing is wrong with that. You could still live vivaciously even in corporate. You just need to find alignment between the business that you're working for and yourself and your values, which I didn't when I was working in corporate. I didn't find something that truly matched. But that's why I'm making my own rules now, right? But if you're someone who's leaving corporate and going to leave it because of the culture, it's really, really important to then define what the new culture is for you. But because what I end up seeing is people leaving corporate thinking that they could make a better life for themselves as an entrepreneur. They end up back in that rat race, but with themselves. And they start competing with their own selves. And you want to make more and more and more. Well, the thing is, you're going to push yourself until you make six figures. And then what? So I think that is kind of like one of the biggest mistakes that I see, whether people are still in corporate or they left corporate to start a business, is that they do start a business, but then bring the same mindset, the same employee mindset into a CEO mindset, which doesn't work.
Right there, girl. Get your notebooks out, guys. Hope you took your notes. I mean, that is the truth, and that's the thing. And I say this because obviously entrepreneurs love y'all. I talk about y'all all the time. Corporate folks, that's my heart because I come from corporate.
Yep.
I was taught old school, go to college, get a degree, get a corporate job, retire, and then live your life. Then it's like, dang, I gotta like wait that long to live my life. Seems like too darn long. But this whole idea of investing yourself, I really want to talk about this because both of us invested ourselves when we were in corporate. I'm having this interesting conversation when I see there are people in corporate who do, but another number of them only want to invest in themselves when their company's paying for it. Well, let me check and see if I have budget for this. And I'm like, you're going to wait until your boss approves you investing in yourself. And I understand there's tuition reimbursement or whatever, but I'm like, some things you gotta think like, okay, if no one's gonna write my check, when am I gonna think that I'm worthy of investing in myself? So start investing in yourself to see that, I need to start doing this before I'm even an entrepreneur.
Yeah. This is actually also a big mistake that I see with people waiting. We're always waiting. What are we waiting for? Permission? Are we waiting till age 59 and a half? And maybe you are 59 and a half, but like, what are you waiting for? Life goes by so fast. And I say this because my time in corporate was really short-lived, right? But I was in corporate with some people who have been there for 15 years. And I remember asking them, how are you here for 15 years? Like, how's that happen? I've never stayed anywhere for longer than a
Right.
year. But maybe I'm just such a rebel. I'm used to moving, right? But then they were just like, they keep giving me more. But that's the thing. That's how people keep you in. So when do you decide there's an expiration date? When do you decide it's time to take action, right? Whether that's to stay or to invest in yourself or to leave or to ask for the vacation days that you know you deserve, all those things. When do you know the time is right? You know, and the thing is, the time is right. Like, it doesn't happen. You don't just get a sign. You just have to do it. It needs to come from within. And because we're in a cycle, we forget to like do the self check in, to journal, to really sit, you know, take a moment for ourselves, just to sit and think like, do I really want this? But yeah, and in terms of investing, I think the best time to invest is when you're in corporate, when you do have the money. Invest in yourself because you know the paycheck is coming, whether they're sponsoring it or not. You just know that the money keeps coming. It's secured money versus when you go out on your own. Because if you're unable to do that while you have a check, it's going to be a big struggle to do it when you don't have a consistent check.
Amen. I will tell you here, better than invest when you got that. You can every 2 weeks you're like, you're gonna get paid. When you don't know, it makes it a little tougher. You have
Yeah,
to decide, like, it's a different mindset. And you're all the way out there. But regardless, everyone's worth investing in. I want to make sure we're clear that we are talking about all kinds of investment. Marina talked about even investing in the food she consumes in her body. Like this
yeah,
can be wellness, this can be health, this can be beauty, it could be relaxation, it could be learning a new skill or hobby. I think I
exactly.
think we stepped away from that, and hopefully this pandemic kind of waked us up. Like, I was like, I gotta get some new hobbies. Like, I need something besides working and love raising my son, but I think that more of like a job than a hobby. So it's like we gotta have things outside. We have to have things outside of
Yeah.
that norm to keep ourselves engaged, interested in stuff like that, and that is key. I also know part of your journey, what you do is you help people with personal branding, which is why I'm so excited to have you here because I was like, oh snap, another personal brand expert. Like I love meeting other people. And I want to also, before we get into that, talk about the power of collaboration over competition because I'm like, we gotta do something together and people are like, oh, you hang out with the competition. I'm like, yeah, because not everyone's gonna be meant for me or meant for Marina. So at least we can refer to their business. So what's your mindset about collaboration or competition?
So I love collaboration, and I always tell all my clients and any talk that I give, I'm always like, one of the biggest way to expand your network and to expand your authority is through collaboration, right? Even if you're in the same industry as the other person, you all bring a different perspective. Your perspective on personal branding, and today I messaged you and saying that the reason why I love you and I want to do things with you and be in the same spaces as you is because your perspective is so fresh, it's so different. Mine is too, and that's why people are attracted to us, right? And the thing is, like you said, like your clients are for you. They're coming for you because you're Deidre. That my clients are coming for me because I'm Marina. And when you leave the whole mindset that they're doing the same thing as me, so I'm in competition with them, and you start thinking like, we bring a different perspective because of our background, of our upbringing, of the things that we do, the values that we communicate to people, even without like strictly saying, I want to help people who are spiritual. I give off that vibe. So people who
Mm-hmm.
are will come to me, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I know there are people out there who preach different things. And even my best friend who I'm hosting the retreat with, Viv,
Yeah.
I mean, she does something similar. She's launching a group coaching program. She's not my competition, right? I don't look at her as my competition because Viv's experience is so different than mine, you know? So I see us as support system, as people who you can bring the people who were like, oh, I think I just want to figure out how to launch a group coaching program and travel the world. You'd be like, well, I think Marina will probably be best suited for you. And if someone comes to me and they're like, I'm still in corporate, I want to develop my career, get to a higher position, get paid more, probably send them to you because I do the opposite of that. I help you leave corporate.
Yeah. Yeah, right. It's like, and that's the thing. It's like the good thing is we're still helping people. My thing is whether I'm helping someone or I'm like, hey, I'm gonna put you in good hands.
Yeah.
Check out Marina or check out Viv. It's like I'm getting to know her too. And it's like it's been so mind blowing how the pandemic has for me brought me closer to new people. I don't think I don't know how I would have met you if it wasn't for this. And so I'm so thankful for
Exactly.
that.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just incredible because when we collaborate, we're both talking to an audience who probably is connecting to the bigger message, right? Of like, they know we both talk about personal branding. So it's like just the perfect audience to go and speak to. So instead of thinking about this person being your competition, think about how in the pool of people that they have, their target audience, right? Your ideal client might be in their target audience, or their ideal client might be in my target audience, because the target audience is like the bigger, right? The bigger pool of people that you kind of attract. But then we all have specific people that have similar worldviews as us that end up coming to us, right? For example, if you are a Christian entrepreneur, you probably will be more attracted to another Christian entrepreneur who's preaching like a certain mindset, right? Or like talks about God. And I see that often, like for me, sometimes I'll pick different things based on the things that I believe in, right? So that's the thing, like that's where values, when you're branding yourself, I feel like we're going a little bit into personal branding here.
Yeah.
It's so important, right, Deidre? Like the values that we put out there, the things that we consistently talk about, that's what people align with. And that's how they pick us as their coach, their strategist, their consultant. It becomes deeper than show me your resume, because we're not showing our resumes to anyone, right? It's all just
Yeah.
word of mouth or our own platforms. So I would love to hear your input on that too.
Well, what's that saying? Like, stand up for something or fall for anything. That's like, I think people need to know where you're standing. And
Yeah.
I see it both from an individual personal brand perspective and also for companies, especially now in this new climate. You have to show companies need to be very specific about how they stand on like political issues now, or just society, or even let's say environmental issues. Like, I think it's expanding one for an individual personal brands, yes, but definitely for corporations too. And why does that matter? So whether you're in corporate, you need to have personal brand, or if you're an entrepreneur outside your business, people need to know who you are and what you stand for.
Yeah.
And that could be everything, like I said, some serious things, but even like and I say this, so for example, I've worked with a lot of women in corporate, people in corporate, but when you do an exercise to learn more about them, and finding out that while they might be perceived by their peers as experts, they're also not perceived as likable. And so a key thing that we found is like, okay, what are you doing about your likability? Because just because you're good at what you do doesn't mean people actually want to work with you.
Yeah.
And so people actually minimize the people skills, which is why I try to help my clients. Like, yeah, we're going to polish up your brand, but it's not even about the branding. It's like, who are you? What do you stand for? What do you want people to know about you? Because that's most important than like an Instagram or LinkedIn post. Like, no one cares about LinkedIn posts. They care about you. So I think that's the key thing, is like, you need to be confident in who you are and clear on who you are. And a lot of people like, I don't know where to start. I'm like, well, let's start with what you don't like, and then I'll reveal who you are. And so I think that's the thing that I always get fascinated about. It's like, let's do the actual research and dive deep. And that's one thing I find that people do wrong with personal branding. They focus so much on the speaking, the content, but they don't actually focus on themselves. So for you, how have you helped clients really communicate their visions?
So actually, we do something called like a vision mapping. So anytime anyone works with me, I'm like, yes, we all want the money. We all want the speaking gigs. We all want to make money without working too much. But there's steps to get there. And there's no way for you to get to your end goal without knowing what it is that you need to do and what it is that you're truly passionate about. So what we do is we basically do vision boarding, and we kind of like start digging deep into their desires. And I give people kind of like the freedom to just go and do this on their own, and then bring it to me to pick up on, because we're too close to the things that we want, right? And the things that are happening. So we want someone from the outside to take a look, and then I end up connecting the dots for them. Okay, so tell me why you want to have your ideal day. Why do you want your ideal day to start at like 5 a.m.? Right? Is it that you actually want it to start at 5 a.m.? Like there's a reason, or that other people told you success is when you wake up at 5 a.m.? Because success for me is sleeping till 10.
That's about that sounds really successful to me.
Yes. And like, so I do these like almost like checks, like self-check, like, Is this truly the vision that you want? And we end up kind of editing things down and seeing how we can reverse engineer the end goals so that they can take actionable or like take steps right now that can get them to the end goal of where they want to be. Because some people don't even have a morning routine and they want to be, I don't know, a 6-figure entrepreneur, like making money from digital products. And I'm like, okay, but what are the things that you need to do today for your mental health, for your health overall, but then also the people that you need to connect with, the collaborations you need to do to get there, because people just think they can like whip up like this amazing digital product, record some videos, put it out there, and everyone's gonna buy it. I'm gonna make 6-figure while I sleep. No, you don't. No, you don't. You can't.
I don't know who does that. Like, you're gonna have to do some kind of work.
Yeah, there is work. And I think when the work comes from a place of alignment, of joy, because you've done the vision, you've sat with yourself, you've looked deeply inside, it feels very natural. And even if you don't hit the income goal that you want, you're in a place where you can keep going because you're very clear on what is bringing you joy. You're working in your purpose. So you feel like, okay, maybe I did not make my, I don't know, $6,000 this month. But so many people sent me messages about how my free content helped them overcome like a hard situation or book a trip. The other day, someone who's not my client, and I don't think she'll ever be my client, you just know there are some people who are like, they're not going to be your client. She was like, Marina, I booked a retreat and I pulled a Marina. And I was like, whoa, people are saying they pulled a Marina. That means I have that much influence in their lives where they're now going out there, booking retreats, wellness retreats, taking time off, taking care of themselves, grounding in their purpose without even having to pay me. I mean, I would love to be paid. I need a tip jar somewhere, but
Right.
but also I see the impact that I'm making and it keeps me going. If I can change people's life just by showing up in my free content, just by showing up every single day, I feel like I'm walking in my purpose. I feel like my business is aligned. I feel like I'm aligned because I think truly humans at the end of the day, they just want to help people. We just want to help people. We want to be good people. But we also need to be good people to ourselves too. So let's not self-sabotage or self-inflict pain on ourselves by doing things we really don't want to do.
That right there. I feel like we are kind to others, but we are not kind to ourselves, and that's where we get things twisted. So I always like to think about quick actions, like for those like, okay, this sounds good in theory. Like, what's some actual tactical, practical, like quick steps I could take to start the journey, to living vivaciously? Is that having check-ins? Is that something else? I say, what's the first step? Is it check-ins? Like, what's the first step to start to kick off this journey to living vivaciously?
Yeah. So I think the first step is actually, if you're exhausted, to take a break. So I think the first step is taking a break. And that break doesn't need to be you taking a 7-day trip to Bali. Okay. It could just be you taking Saturdays where it is your day off, right? But instead of doing everything under the sun, multitasking and like trying to go to the gym, trying to go to the pool, trying to run errands, taking care of everyone in your family, just take the day alone to disconnect. Because we truly cannot achieve anything or get to know ourselves when there's so much noise, when there's so much action. We think, oh, I'm going to go to the pool and start reading. No, you are relaxed, but the thing is, you're still doing things. You're still under this like mental stimulation. There's still things happening. It's almost like fake joy, And I think when we just take the time where we're like, okay, I'm just going to make myself a nice cup of coffee or order one, right? And I'm just going to chill. I'm just going to sit here, do nothing, answer to no one, turn off my phone, and breathe. Some people call this meditation, but it really could just be time alone for you, indulging in something very simple like a cup of coffee. I like to light incense or a candle, like buy yourself a fancy candle, whatever your vibe is, like candle, incense, Palo Santo, whatever you need to burn it and sit there in peace and just truly just take a moment to connect. And then What has helped me a lot, and a lot of my business besties, they said that journaling was one of the best things that they've done, and I do a lot of journaling, and it doesn't need to be dear diary. We're all adults, okay? Like our journaling could just be like, this, I felt irritated because of X, Y, and Z. I'm feeling a disconnect because of this. Right now, I'm so happy because I'm just taking time for myself, drinking my cup of coffee in silence. It could be the simple things. And when we start small, it could just be 2 sentences every day, every other day, every week, even. It gets you closer to having conversations with yourself, right? Because we're always having conversations with other people, always stimulated by other people. Now we need to start digging like internally and deeply and see how can we have conversations with ourselves. You can talk to yourself in the mirror, but I think it's nice to write it down. And Deidre, it's amazing when I go back to my journals. I keep all of them, but I go back and I do this thing every birthday where I write the same, like if I'm turning like whatever number, I will actually write that number in things I've learned or things I let go of. And this exercise, I go back to it year after year after year, and it's just incredible to see the growth because we life is so fast, and because we're in this cycle, especially if you're like in corporate and you know 5 days of the week you're working, and then weekend you're with your family or your loved ones, whatever. We don't have the time to sit down and actually record like our achievements, even the little ones. So I think it would help a lot of people to start there, to start having this internal conversations, to take time for just you with no mental distractions, or physical distractions, to just like kind of you yourself and just set up the environment. I think the environment is a big part. And then lastly, I would say to plant some seeds of like where you want to go. So after you kind of like figure out where the disconnect is in your life, what it is that you really want, make a list of things that you're truly passionate about. Maybe it's something that no one's paying you money to do right now. Maybe it's a hobby, like you said. Maybe it's even like getting a facial. But like write down the things that will spark your joy, the things that you're passionate about talking about, just different things, could be anything in life. And then start planting the seeds for that. If it's to get a facial and you feel like, oh, I don't have like a couple $100s to just drop on a massage or a facial right now, maybe that's a fun fund. You need to start a fun fund, and where you just like put money there, even if it's $20 weekly, right, towards getting to that thing that you really want to do. So it's little achievements. And the more we do this, the more we become comfortable in investing in ourselves and taking the next steps for doing things that we truly want to do to help us live vivaciously.
I love that. I love all those tips. I think they're really good, especially like a question like our nosy question. Okay, if you're going to be a corporate nomad or entrepreneur nomad, like where do you put all your stuff? Like, is it like you just have like one suitcase? Like, how do you? I mean, I don't know. I come from a background of like collecting just stuff, and so I'm trying to be more minimalist now. Like, how do you actually functionally move around?
It's funny that you say that because coming from an Egyptian household, like it is like embedded in the culture that we collect things more and more. More is more, more is more. We want more, right? And my mom, she loves to collect things. Like we have a garage full of things, but it stresses me out, and she hates it. Every time I come home, I go through like my closet, my things, and I'm like, Mom, why are you holding on to this? It's from high school. Like, it's insane. And I'm like, we're gonna sell it. So we actually pack like bags, and I like force her to come with me to like Buffalo Exchange to like sell some things, or we like just like do a garage sale, whatever it is that we need to do. But I've always been the type of person that likes to get rid of things. But I think for me, it was easy because I grew up like moving around. So I learned to just let go of things, right? And right now, like my situation is that I have 2 bags, that like kind of like bigger bags, and they have all my stuff. And for me, it's easy because I know I'm traveling. It's going to be summertime everywhere I'm going, and summer clothes are smaller. So that helps. So thinking about the season that, you're traveling in also will determine like how much you're going to take. You can pack lighter, but also knowing that there's a place, maybe it's a family member that could hold your stuff. Maybe it's a garage where you could just keep like, or whatever, if you have like a place that you can pay for, to like keep the essential things that you don't want to let go of, but it's a burden to like carry around with you, because
Yeah.
I'm small. I'm like 4'11".
Oh, really? I know you're that tiny. Okay.
Yeah, I'm small, so I need to like be able to carry my own bags and like do things easily. So like I always think about that. So that was another reason, like I'm like, okay, I need to pack light. Like I need to only have 2 bags maximum. But yeah, so I actually don't own anything else other than the stuff that I bring with me. I have my winter clothes that I kept with my parents. But they're okay with that. They want me to. They're always like, come home. So
It's an excuse to come home. Why don't you come home? It's like, okay, come get your stuff. That's good.
yeah,
One
they like
question, right? One question I ask all my guests, because something I'm really obsessed, interested in, love is talking about legacy building. And what do you want to, before we end this earth, or at least this life form, like what do you want to be known for? So what's the legacy you're building, and what do you want to be known for, Marina?
Oh, love that question, Deidre. It's so vivacious. I think I want to be known as this woman who, went against all the odds, all the cultural norms that I grew up in, and really created a path for myself, and helped other people do the same thing and help them live vivaciously. Like I get so excited when people use the word vivacious, because it's not a word that is like common. People don't just say like, we're getting vivacious.
Yeah.
Right? So like to me, my legacy is having people truly understand the meaning of the word and living it, and going against all the odds that are in their life, whether it's financial, cultural, gender norms, all the things that I grew up with as blocks. I'm breaking that down for myself, and I want other people to be able to break that down for them as well.
That is beautiful. It's funny because, like, when I think about you, I think about vivacious. And, like, you're like, when I think about celebrity, I think about Deidre. It's like these little terms,
Yes.
they really anchor brands and concepts and thought process. So, whenever I think vivacious, I'm like, okay, what's Marina? It's like vivacious. Like, I can't help it. Or even when I think about your brand colors, like, I'm like, that looks like something Marina would like.
Yes. Yes. And I think that's awesome. That's really great that you brought that up, because I was just I was giving a workshop talking about how colors kind of evoke this emotion. So the reason I use my orange, my yellow, these earrings, the big hair, all of that is part of my branding, part of the legacy that I also want to leave behind. I want people to remember that, to associate certain things with my name. And for you, Deidre, I think it's amazing because like I haven't the word industry celebrity until like I met you, and I was like, just the way you brand yourself, like that video that you had at the beginning, just kind of like that like just it's very sexy, it's very you, it's very like luxurious, and even the colors like red and black, it's like passion, elegance, intensity. So like all these things make up our brand. We don't even need to tell me all of that. You didn't even tell me that. I came up with that idea, and it's probably true because we can learn a lot about people just by how they like present themselves, right? So
That is so true. And even like with that, I had to switch my branding up because I wear black all the time. As anyone knows, they see me, but I'm a very bold person. So I need to better reflect my boldness visually, because I'm like, as you or others who know me know how I am. I'm like, how do I visually show that? It's like bold luxury, golds, reds, blacks, whatever. That's what I'm about. Now, for those who are like, I want to get some of this vivacious Marina in my life. How can they get in contact with you, and how can they work with you?
yeah, if you want some vivaciousness, the first place you want to head is my Instagram. That is where all the vivaciousness is happening. I share so much behind the scenes. I'm always on stories and in my DMs, so you can find me at Vivaciously Marina. And over there, I have so much, like I have a lot of guides. I have a lot of posts that you can scroll to and like read a little bit more about my story and how I made this life possible. And then if you click the link in my bio, which is livin without the G, livin vivaciously.com. That's where you can find different ways to work with me. I have a retreat coming up in Bali. It's a women entrepreneurial retreat. We're going to be having a lot of fun and learning in the process. We have a few spots left. So if you want to join that, I also have a coaching program. It's called the Brand Development Coaching Program, where I help people who are trying to become entrepreneurs go on that route and start building a brand for themselves. And that works for all different kinds of brands. So happy to help you in any capacity, even if it's just send me a DM, just say hello, let me know what you thought of this conversation. And yeah.
Yeah, please do. I did that. I called GM Marina, and I basically, I just love everything you're doing. Like, be my friend. And she did not bite. She was open. So I definitely show her some love. And obviously, indeed, you're right. Brand visibility. So if you want to increase your visibility to either advance your career or attract clients, I'm the girl for you, because we are too valued and valuable not to be seen for who we are, and to not attract the people who want us. Like, we need supported by success. I have Marina. She supports my success. I support hers too. If you're having a hard time doing this, let's figure out a plan to get you there so you can get to where you want to be faster. And obviously go to my website, djwright.com. We'll book a call and find out your plan. So with that said, Marina, do you have any last words for our audience to inspire them, and then, to leave them with a message?
Yeah, absolutely. I want to invite you to start thinking about your own joy. And like Deidre said, we are too valuable, like each and every one of us, and our joy matters. Yes, it's great to create a business that people like, something marketable. Yes, it's great to have an amazing career path. But then at the end of the day, don't forget to find your own joy, because at the end of it all, whatever age you plan to retire, you might be on your own and you want to look back and you want to be like, I lived this life. You're not going to live it after. You want to live it now. And if anything that we learned from the pandemic is that things can happen that could change everything. So if you want to take a trip, do it. Just book the ticket. Don't overthink it. If you want to finally like quit your job and start your business, do that. If you need time for rest, facials, massages, buying a nice meal, and you haven't done that in a little while, do it, because the money will always come back. It's always going to be a way to make back the money, but there won't be a way to make back the time that we have spent not doing the things that brings us a lot of joy. So
That's true. I mean, unless you want to come back for another lifetime, but me personally, I want to get to heaven. So I think make the most of this life, make it happen. Thank you so much, Marina. Thank you all for being here. I want to say goodbye to you all. If you have any comments or questions for Marina, definitely post them below, where we would love to hear your feedback. I
yes.
love this juicy conversation. And obviously, I love you, Marina, and what you stand for. So I appreciate it. So goodbye, everybody, and have a wonderful day.
Thank you,
Bye.
Deidre. Bye.